pollution in Delhi often hits the headlines. In fact, for those few weeks, that's all anyone is talking about. Did you know Mumbai has had worse air quality than Delhi in the last 1 week? Yes, if you're living in the city and wondering why it's so hazy, there is a reason for it. The average AQI in Mumbai city has been 214 over this last week, which is considered poor. On the other hand, Delhi saw moderate air quality with an AQI of 169 in this period. Unsurprisingly, vehicular pollution is one of the biggest contributors to Mumbai's worsening AQI. In some regions of Mumbai city, in fact, the AQI has gone up above 400 as well. A report by IDFC Institute has said that on average, a 30-minute trip in free-flowing traffic takes about 66 minutes in peak hour traffic. So that traffic is not just frustrating people stuck in it, but it is ensuring that the air we breathe is becoming dangerous. Before we start talking about what's going on in Mumbai, let's take a look at this ground report by my colleague Rahul Kumar.
Mumbai, the financial capital of India, is suffering a lot from air pollution. If we look at the air quality index of Mumbai and Delhi, it is almost equal. If you look at the air quality index of Delhi, it comes out to 221, which comes in the poor categories. Whereas if you look at the Mumbai data, it is also 221, which comes in the poor category. But unlike Delhi, Mumbai is the coastal city, so air pollution should not be a big problem over here. But what is the reason behind it? If you look at the data of other Mumbai regions such as Andheri, where I am standing right now, air quality index over here is 218, which comes in poor category. If you look at the Colaba air quality index is 176, which comes in moderate category. And if we look at Navi Mumbai, the air quality index is very high. It's 404, which comes in severe categories. I have with me Mr. Ronak, who will try to explain us what is the reason behind it. He has analyzed almost a week data of MPCB. Mr. Ronak, what is the exact reason behind it?
So I think what is coming out is that areas like Sion, which have very high traffic density, and Bandra, which is also very dense with construction dust and traffic pollution, stays significantly worse throughout the week as compared to some other parts of the city. And we are finding that a lot of the pollution, especially PM 2.5 pollution, comes from road and construction dust and a lot of waste burning.
Well, I'm standing right in front of BKC traffic signal, and as you can see right behind me, there's a big traffic jam, and you can see some kind of construction work is also going on. Now these roads are also dug up because some kind of construction is going on because of the preparation of some flyover, and this has clubbed together to degrade the air quality index of BKC. I'll ask my cameraman to once show you the air quality index of BKC, which is currently 311, which comes in very poor categories. Now, this is a very serious threat for all those who are coming to BKC for work. So, some precautions should definitely be taken while coming to BKC in evening time when the air quality of index is very poor.
Okay, so we know that it is worse than it usually is. January is the worst month for air pollution in Mumbai. This time it could go on till the first week of March. What really is going on? Why is the famous coastline that usually protects Mumbai from this, not working in this case? To understand more on this, I'm joined now by Bhagwan Keshbhat, founder of Vatavaran Foundation, Vivek Chattopadhyay from CSE, and Rishi Agarwal, urban planner and director of Mumbai Sustainability Centre. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us today. Mr. Keshbhat, you famously put up that lung in Bandra Kurla complex of Mumbai, which turned black in a couple of days. It seems that this is something that all Mumbaikars may be suffering. Can you explain this phenomenon we've seen in the last 1 week?
So our attempt was to artificial lung installation that every Mumbaikar, almost like more than 2 crores people in the Mumbai metropolitan region are been living, and how their lungs are endangered only because the rising air pollution. So it's now no more Delhi's problem. It's been Mumbai. Mumbai अब तक दूर नहीं है, ऐसा हम कह सकते हैं. So that's the attempt we did in this artificial lung installation at the Bandra National College, which turned in the 14 to 15 days completely black. So Mumbai's lungs has turned the black. So that's it's very close from the Maharashtra Chief Minister's office, the residential place, and the Environment Minister's place. So we can imagine even the Environment Minister's and the Chief Minister's lungs is not the same place. So what about the Mumbaikar?
Absolutely, and this is why we keep the focus on pollution and on climate change on this show because, like you said, whether it's the chief minister or it is anyone, no one is going to be spared the damage that this is going to do. Rishi Agarwal, what our team found when going out to report the story is that it's a combination of factors. It is the fact that a lot of the city is dug up right now. That anyway is causing, the construction is causing its own dust, but that slows down traffic even further, more emissions, which means more air pollution. My question is that why is nobody even talking about this, including the Maharashtra government? It's like we all want to pretend it's not happening and only Delhi has a problem.
Good question, Tamanna. In fact, I could just be as baffled by the same thing, and I really wouldn't have any answers because the big question for me also is that why aren't the average Mumbaiker making a big deal out of it? And frankly speaking, this is not just the government, and the government should be at the other end because only after people have made a sufficient amount of noise and got alarmed by maybe some of the displays like Bhagwan has put up of that black lung, etc. But apparently nobody gets really moved by anything in the city at all. And it's for me, it's a 20-year involvement. I remember a generation of environmental activists even before who've been speaking about this since the 80s and 90s and warning that we are eventually going to cross those threshold limits if we continue the same pattern of growth in the city and do not pay heed to all the alarming signals which are already showing 10, 15, 20 years back. So I think we've arrived at that phase, but I really don't see it as a big point of concern. And when you mentioned that, I mean, just 2-3 days back when I passed the ceiling or the Mahim Causeway, the Bandra ceiling was, nothing was visible at all. It was just complete haze. And it baffles me that nobody, whether the government, I mean, I think the political situation, frankly speaking, is really far worse, I would say, than the air quality of Mumbai. And so really to expect anything from the political...
No, but that's Rishi, that's where you're wrong. The political situation is not every common person's problem. The air pollution is. The air pollution is.
Yeah.
I have actually heard this. I have actually heard this from doctors here saying that a large number of children born in Mumbai city need nebulizers before they're at the age of 3. It's a standard thing right now. How scary is that, and how can we not be concerned about this? Yes, Mr. Keshbhat wants to come in. Yes. Yes, Mr. Keshbhat.
I'm saying it should be a political issue.
One at a time. Mr. Keshbhat is just speaking. Yes.
Pardon me?
Yes, Mr. Keshbhat.
So we are committing the serious crime. We are putting our children on the line of fire because we may live another 10 years such a severe situation, but our children's lungs are going to be impaired. They are going to be like the doctors from Lilavati hospitals, like Dr. Sanjeev Mehta, and the doctors like Amita Nene from Doctors for Clean Air has specifically mentioned that the children's lungs are delicate and that's going to be impaired in such a air quality. So that's the serious threat, the health impact to the Mumbaikars and especially for the children and women. So if we are not getting awake now, when we are going to awake?
Absolutely. Vivek, I want you to come in on, understanding the focus is there on Delhi. We understand that crop burning is a huge contributor which makes these things spike coupled with the winter season. So that is a phenomenon we see year after year. What is your assessment of what's happening in Mumbai right now?
In Mumbai, the kind of air pollution that Mumbai experiences is actually more toxic than what we experience in Delhi. In the terms of the same particulate matter in Mumbai, although it may be of a smaller quantity, is much hazardous for health than the particles in Delhi because Delhi has a high load of natural dust also. So you have particulate matter emissions largely from fossil fuel burning. For example, from the vehicles, from industries, and also there are garbage burning. Those incidences happen. So, and the Mumbai's air quality is also impacted by the stagnation of the wind. So, whenever there is a wind stagnation, the sea breeze doesn't help, and the city gets accumulated with all the pollutants being emitted. And what I am noticing that the pollution monitoring centers near the traffic junctions are showing very high peaks, both of PM 2.5 as well as sulfur nitrogen dioxide. So it clearly indicates that vehicular emissions are going very high, and they are a leading cause for exposure to the people, very hazardous to the children, elderly, and the people with respiratory diseases. So I think there is a complacency on the part of the authorities. They are not taking the air pollution crisis seriously in Mumbai, and all the health evidences that are coming up are clearly showing that if it is not taken seriously, and most surprisingly, during the winter period it experiences high air pollution days, but the city hasn't prepared any graded response action plan.
Nothing.
Like the way Delhi has done.
Exactly.
So there is no emergency action being taken on the high spike of the pollution.
You know, I don't
Although
think
there is
anyone
a
is even
long-term
talking
plan,
about this.
but it doesn't seem there is a.
Frankly, I don't think anyone in the media is even talking about this.
Yeah,
and
that is very
unfortunately, you
surprising
need
that,
that prod sometimes. The government here, like, you know, Rishi Agarwal said, they're figuring out who's getting along with who and what issues. This is something everyone can agree on. The Shiv Sena-led government in Maharashtra has already shown that it wants to be on the forefront of issues like pollution, like climate change, like plastic ban. This is something that we need you to jump in on. Don't, you know, turn away and pretend it's going to go away in a couple of weeks. Another point I think we should focus on is, if vehicular pollution is a huge contributor, what really is being done to reduce the number of vehicles on the road? Rishi Agarwal, the coastal road project, after a lot of back and forth, has finally kicked off. But the fact is, it's going to get more vehicles onto the road. Where are we building a system where you have less vehicles onto the road?
Tamanna, you've already answered my question. I think the coast road has been such a terrible blot on the way the city is being planned, and some of us have been opposing it for more than 10 years, and it's been a favorite project across political parties, whether it's Shiv Sena, BJP, Congress, NCP. Everybody is a fan of that project because they're also going to benefit from it. So, but the project is completely in not in the interest of the city, and it will bring more vehicles on the road. And we have frankly crossed all kind of thresholds as far as the ability of Mumbai's roads is to be able to carry more vehicles. I remember very vividly 10 years back, I was at the Observer Research Foundation, another think tank, and we had organized a whole day seminar on bus rapid transit system, where we had said that the limited road space availability, which is 2,000 kilometers in 2010 and 2,000 kilometers in 2020, that limited road space has been completely choked and exhausted because of the relentless way in which we are adding cars. We should have spent, instead of 5,000 crores on the failed monorail project, we should have invested heavily into electric air-conditioned buses 10 years back. See, you have to also understand that our responses cannot give results immediately. Whatever you will do today, even a good action, will give you results in 2030. It takes 10 years. For 20 years, we've been taking absolutely horrendous decisions, the planning authorities, whether it's MMRDA, Urban Development Department, or MCGM. And again, I think it should be borne in mind that we're not just talking Mumbai over here, we're talking Mumbai metropolitan region.
Yeah.
Whatever happens in the whole Mumbai metropolitan region impacts everybody. And that's a separate big discussion altogether. But to answer your question on Coast Road, I think it is a terrible project. I think it's still not too late. I think if we can bear on the Shiv Sena government and Aditya Thackeray especially, that it should be done with.
That apart, you talked about what our plan is for infrastructure. Vivek, I want you to come in on that in terms of urban planning, in terms of policy direction, because at the end of the day, that's all that can be done, right? We don't want to come to a situation of odd even, though right now it might make sense to ask that, are people even thinking about this? Are we even pressing the panic button at this point? But in terms of planning how to move vehicular pressure off the roads, it seems to be going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's totally going in opposite direction because the investments that the government is planning is entirely on road building and the expressways. And effectively, the expressways are not expressways. They are running at the speed of 14 km per hour during the peak hours. So eventually, even if you build so many expressways in Mumbai, they will be choked up with the cars as soon as possible. Because as the people affluence is growing and people find it's convenient to own and drive a car, hardly there is any good parking policy which restricts the on-street parking and charges high. We are not dealing with a city. Mumbai and Calcutta are well known in the India as public transport oriented city, but we are diminishing, we are not working towards that goal, that we should retain that advantage. Walking, cycling, public transport connectivity, seamless connectivity. There are several modes. Metro is going to be there. There is suburban railway. Bus network can be improved tremendously with the smaller fraction of investment that are going to the roads. Electric buses can be brought in. Auto rickshaw services can be converted to electric. So I think a lot can be done with the same money that can help to deal with the air pollution, but the investments are planned for the roads. So eventually it will have the car ownership and the roads will be choked with cars. So I think there is a short-sightedness in the minds of the planners. They are looking at air pollution control as an anti-development measure, but anti-development is not the goal. If you don't control the air pollution and the citizens are ill and they are sick and the children are affected, then what's the point in having a developed city? So that's a decision the city makers have to take today.
Yeah, no, I want to talk about the connectivity as well. And let me come to Rishi on this point. The metro is supposed to be the big answer, right, for mass transit transport system in the city. But again, is it giving people end-to-end connectivity, or are you going to again have choke points where you need to take some kind of a, private transport to get from point A to point B? That planning doesn't seem to be there.
To believe that in 5 years, when the complete metro network will be operational, we will suddenly see a drastic reduction in congestion on the roads and an improvement in air quality. It's a complete fallacy. It is being complete half truth or lies is being peddled by the metro lobby, so to say, if I may use the word. There's going to be no reduction in air pollution or congestion on the roads unless some of the measures which Vivek has already mentioned are implemented. We need a strict parking policy. We need congestion fee in place. We need to incentivize the way we are spending our money. I mean, if you're going to spend our money on pushing more cars on the road and then talk about a separate set of issues, it's never going to work out. And I mean, since you mentioned earlier in the show climate change, at the international climate change negotiations every year, which are held in November, December, India's favorite stance is to keep berating the West and trying to make the West show as the key culprit. And to keep begging for money. I mean, over here, we use our money for completely things in the opposite direction. And Climate Change Forum has just become a means of berating the West and trying to show them down. But again, when we see these kind of news, this is not just local news. This is going around the world.
Yeah.
So the world is seeing what we are doing or what we are not doing in terms of planning our cities and the air quality in our cities.
Yeah, well, one example of that is that India finds a mention in the democratic debate, last evening, where one of the candidates who's in the presidential race, Michael Bloomberg, starts talking about climate change and says that India is an even bigger problem than China. As far as climate change is concerned, we're just not doing anything about it. The problem is a global one, it's a national one, but it's definitely a local one as well. I want to come to you, Mr. Keshbhat, and just understand in a little more detail of how long we're going to see this in Mumbai and what are the reasons right now, because things like vehicular traffic is there all through the year. Roads have been dug for a while. I'm still trying to get a handle on why we've seen this sudden spike in the last 1 week and how long do you think we'll see it? Yeah, I'm going to
city action plan. The action plan
I'm going to have to fix your
that
audio,
33%
Mr. you at
air
all.
pollution contribution
I'm
is
afraid
from the
I
industry.
can't hear you. I can't hear you. Let me go to Vivek. Let me go to Vivek for that point. You know, we're talking about vehicular pollution,
Yeah.
and we're talking about roads dug up, which is a really perennial thing in Mumbai, to be honest.
Actually, the problem is like while one project happens, the project managers do not think in a holistic manner that how they are going to manage the other parts of the traffic, which are essential like bus services, movement of pedestrians, access to the railway stations and other aspects. So I think there has to be a unified authority in Mumbai which looks after all the parts of all the systems of public transport. It is very important that a city like Mumbai has to be a unified transportation authority which takes over and looks after the entire mobility aspect, interconnectivity of everything. And most important thing is we need to make it people centric. So if people's movement are in our focus, then we would plan in that way. Right now, if we plan from the perspective of cars, then it is not going to help. Particularly in the case of investments that are planned in Mumbai. Another point is industrial emissions. That is also, although they have shifted out of the city, but the surrounding areas have very heavy industrial pollution also happening. So more surveillance, more monitoring and the adherence to the emission norms will be very important. So I think the Pollution Control Board and the local bodies have to gear up to check the emissions, because if we only see that Mumbai has a blessing of sea breeze and everything will be blown away, that is not going to help.
We're clearly
it is
seeing that
eventually help. Like why Hong Kong has a very tough
yeah, we're literally
air
seeing
pollution
that
control
advantage
plan.
evaporate.
Singapore also has very tough air
Okay,
pollution control
we're literally
plan.
seeing that advantage evaporate. I want to close with a comment from
Yes.
Rishi Agarwal on what steps do you think need to be taken. Obviously, individually, people don't even know that they have to, you know, avoid exercising in the morning, and those who are very young and very old have to have caution. We don't even know because we're just pretending that we're not living in bad air. So, I mean, that's of course number one at an individual level. But in terms of administration, do you think we are at the stage where we need to look at various schemes, some bans on some sort of construction at this point?
I would like to highlight two things, Tamanna. One is what Vivek mentioned earlier. We need a graded response action plan for Mumbai ASAP, as soon as possible. I think it's completely possible to put together a team in place within 2 weeks and get it rolling from within Mantralaya itself. But we need a graded response action plan immediately. Second thing, which is my favorite topic, is work area management. We can control dust as of yesterday. All that the government needs to do is rules which are existing in place, construction sites, metro site, flyover construction site, etc. When the foundations, etc. are happening, you have huge amount of dust on the road. This can all be removed between 12 o'clock in the night and 6 a.m. in the morning, so that at least the city, you have no control over the vehicular growth immediately as of 2 weeks. You have no control about how the atmospherics will play out, which day the breeze will be fast, which day it will be slow, when humidity will be high, when it will be low. So I think these are the two things which the government can do immediately, which at least, I mean, we can have some kind of a, I don't think a silver lining, but some sense of hope that we can still solve this problem.
Absolutely. Treat this as a priority. Don't wait for the rains to come and, you know, ease the air pollution. The rains will come with its own set of floods. Let's try and make the city more livable than it is right now. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us on this discussion. I hope those watching the show have benefited from it and our constant focus on subjects that matter.